Hi, Brad.
Hi, Troy.
Life and Grace podcast. We're at it again.
Life and grace. We have lived a little bit of it, and we also have been granted plenty of grace. So we feel somehow like we have the authority to speak about some of the things that we've experienced and dealt with, and so we just want to share and let everybody know, kind of how things went for us. There's a dog. There's a dog. Hey, May.
She didn't get in the picture, so we don't have to pay you.
Why don't we just start over?
We can. What was that noise I heard?
That was a bell. This is going to signify. Wait. I don't know what it wants. What do you actually call what it signifies? The stopping point. Because we need a couple of cut places, so it's easier for us to, or for Troy, who's tremendous
editing process
and doing the editing, and so that gives us a place where we can stop and regroup and cut. Do you have to pause everything when we do that?
No. No. We could just go on the fly and just cut it right in the middle of somebody's conversation. We had to.
Okay, so you guys are getting a glimpse of our rookie approach to doing a podcast. So Troy's been doing the editing. We come over here. This is my basement. We sit by the bar, and sometimes we have a drink. But we have always had these conversations without the mics.
We have, and we're still trying to figure out what the conversation is going to be this evening. But we're going to have a conversation.
It usually just works out that way. You know, there's so many daily things that we run into, and so many things that we find to do to make ourselves, I guess, tolerate the world. The things that we do that we enjoy. I think that would be a great thing to share with the audience. The things that appease you, they get to know us a little bit. We can share with them. Maybe somebody can catch on to one of our ways of coping, and then we can move from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's whether it's coping or understanding, figuring out how we should live life with others that maybe not, that don't believe the same way we do. And there's plenty of those out there, unfortunately. But whether they believe, there's a lot of people I probably don't get along with that do believe the same way I do. Actually, that's the crazy part about it, but that's probably true. So as we're chugging along here and going back and forth, our conversations, as I've said before on these podcasts, lead wherever the conversation leads. So where are we going with this? What do we want to talk about? What's your thought?
I was thinking, in terms of not necessarily coping is probably the wrong word, but there's a lot of hassle in life. We all work. You raise kids, you have sick relatives, there's so many obstacles. And, sometimes it's nice to be able to get away and I'm not talking about like drug use or alcohol or things. I'm just talking about things that you like to do that occupy your idle time. There's good things and fun things that you can occupy your idle time with without potentially causing havoc in your life.
Right. And a lot of those we've both done. Music's one of them. We've written songs. Both of us have written songs. We've got a podcast that we put together called Weary on a song that hopefully you've heard by now. And if not, go back and listen to Weary podcast, and you can check out the song as we go through this. But a lot of our stuff just vent how we feel through music. You've been building a lot of birdhouses lately.
Yeah, I mean,
occupying your time.
And they're not just
they're not just a regular
birdhouse.
They didn't come in a kit.
I'm using I'm using the resources I have at my disposal, and I lay stone, put stone down with mortar, and a friend of mine gave me some barnwood, old barnwood. So being able to do that. And I made one for you and Brandy.
I love it. It didn't hold up, but
no, a squirrel ripped the door off. But hey, we'll fix it. Move on.
A squirrel literally ripped the door off our birdhouse barn, or not house. It's a bird feeder.
Well,
apparently it's a squirrel feeder.
Yes, and I didn't really give the feeder concept very much thought as I built it. To be honest with you, and that was my mistake.
We need to share a picture. I'll share a picture of the bird / squirrel house.
There you go. But what talking about things that you enjoy, birds is one also,
Yeah.
not just the bird houses, but I've got a little sanctuary. I get up every morning and I feed the birds a bucket of literally a bucket of black oil seeds
Yeah.
and 4 handfuls of peanuts in the shell because the blue
Mhm.
jays are gaga over the peanuts.
Right.
And every now and then, if it's season for the Orioles,
Yeah.
they put grape jelly out. Hint for you bird watchers, grape jelly is, I don't want to say it, but it's like crack
Apparently.
to the Orioles. And once in a while some suet, the suet blocks that are the animal fat, and each bird, it's interesting to see kind of what they
Mhm.
like and how they like to coexist. And so, that's an awesome getaway for me and personally, but
Yeah.
there's so many places, that I like to hang out. Like, just we have this
Yeah.
fortunate enough to have a little path back here, and I love walking down it. And I put a
Yep.
cross up back there in the back. So, just in the morning with a cup of coffee, walk back there and just, kind of take a few minutes and just be by yourself.
Yeah. Somewhat meditate,
You bet.
if
Pray,
you will.
meditate.
Yeah.
Yeah, just observe. But there's baseball, and I love to cook. I love to cook, and of course I love to eat. Especially if it tastes
If
good.
it tastes good. I
But
love to eat your food. I don't mind you cooking.
oh well, I love to eat your food. Troy got him a new smoker, and he's getting to the
I've been
place
smoking.
where he's got it down and doing really well. So
Uh,
that's a hobby that both of us share
yeah.
is the cooking and the eating.
In the eating part, love that part.
And a lot of hand me down recipes through my family. I know from chicken and noodles, and maybe we can not I can't share that recipe. Not the chicken
Well,
and noodles, but
what are we
Stephanie's
gonna?
mom's homemade salsa is another
Yeah,
one.
huh, good. I learned how to make salsa because of Stephanie, and I make
Ah,
salsa at home all the time now because of that.
yeah.
It's usually pretty good. Enjoy it. I think the animals are coming.
Yeah,
Feel
we
like
got a
Doctor
couple
Doolittle.
cats
Got a
that are
cat
sleeping
running
now,
around through
so
here that may jump up any second.
yeah, and that's fine.
Who knows?
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's Cat's Coleman. And the
yeah.
dog you
Can't see
heard,
it.
that's May, who's a black lab, and Coleman's a
Yeah,
black cat, and saved her from the wild.
yeah.
Excuse me, him. He lived out in the trees for a year. We never fed him or nothing. He just kept showing up. Finally, we decided to take him in, and he's still feral.
Yeah, he's definitely feral. He's a wild one. We're sitting there watching him as he walks around here. He's just looking like, what can I tear up right now? Is what he's
Uh-huh.
doing. Where's that
But
other cat?
yeah, and speaking of, there's another way of comfort, and get an
Oh,
animal,
yeah,
get a friend, a pet, or a real friend, a person.
yeah.
People are
Good.
good to be friends with too.
Sometimes
We're friends.
we are. We like hanging out. We have a good cigar and
Mm-hmm.
a little whiskey or
Yeah,
something every
which
once in a while, or a good bottle of water.
that's
Take
another
that.
comfort as long as it's in moderation.
In
Right?
moderation is the way to
Moderation's
go.
the key. Um, I don't want to say to anything because I don't know. Maybe it
A
is,
lot of
but
things to excess are bad, obviously.
right, or things that are extremely dangerous,
Yeah. And then,
especially nowadays with the fentanyl that
oh,
it seems to be. I don't
that,
know if it's over publicized, but nevertheless, I mean, if any drug could kill you with that small of
yeah,
amount, then I
that's,
don't get it. I don't know.
yeah, I don't understand
The
that either.
risk
Hey,
doesn't really make sense to me.
especially when they know there's fentanyl. It's not that they don't know all the time, it's they do know, but they take
They
that
just do it anyway.
risk. I
Well,
don't
I think
understand that risk.
fentanyl in itself, and I'm not an expert by
I
any
don't
stretch of the
know.
imagination, but I think fentanyl in itself is a drug,
Yes, it is a drug,
and it must be
and it's not good for you.
something about it. I mean, because if a tiny bit
It must
kills
be a good
you,
eye to risk your life for. It better be good. I haven't found anything worth risking my life for as far as drugs or alcohol or any of those things.
all right, so if we're
No
talking,
thanks.
I mean, I think as we're sitting here talking about things that you do that help you to
Yeah.
relax and get away a little bit, and obviously we're not going to sit here and promote alcohol or drug
No.
use, but
No.
there is a lot of things. I mean, I work with little kids all the time, teaching pitching, baseball lessons,
Yeah.
and it's a blast. And I interact with them and get to know them on a personal level as well as their families,
Yeah.
and it's really really fun. It's fulfilling, and quite honestly, if I didn't need to pay my bills, I probably would do it for free. And
Yeah.
jumping on a mower to me and mowing the ball field. We have a little ball
Oh,
field for teams to practice on it. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who get lost doing yard work and gardening and different things. I don't have a ton of those type hobbies, I guess. I mean, I obviously do that stuff at home because I've got to, otherwise I'd have 3 foot tall grass. But I
Oh,
mean, I'll mow, but I usually push anymore. I have a small yard, so I just push it.
that's
So it's more
because you're a
exercise.
pusher.
I'm a pusher. But like today, I went and relaxed, watched the grandson play baseball. Didn't have anything else really going on, so watched him play a couple games. They ended up winning the championship game today in their little tournament, so it was cool watching all these 8-year-olds.
And you got burned a little
I
bit.
got sunburnt again 2 days in a row.
I wonder if that'll show up. Can you guys tell?
Oh, you could tell by
Troy's not embarrassed. He's
I'm gonna
burnt.
show you. Yeah, it's not red faced. I had a hat on. I had some sunblock. I should be good, but a little fair skinned.
You bet.
So there's lots of ways to relax, and if you can keep those to where they don't keep you from our real purpose, I think they're all good.
Well, I think I could
Can be
speak
good.
on your behalf.
Could be good.
You got a motorcycle.
I have a motorcycle.
You got an old
Got an old
classic
truck.
truck.
Yeah.
And so, that type of thing. I know Brandy, who's my sister,
My
Troy's wife.
Yeah.
She does a lot of repurposing of furniture and
She
things,
has.
and you always help with that. And
Probably not as much as she wants me to, but I do.
well, touche. And,
Yeah.
I've
Just
got to
saying.
assume
Be honest.
that editing all this stuff.
No, it's gonna stay there. I'll take whatever comes from what comes out of this. Just being honest. She knows. She'll be the first one to tell you. You could work a lot harder
Yeah.
and help me out, and I should help her out more than what I do on those things. But yeah, she enjoys doing those, and she's made a little bit of money off of it, and she does it for fun. We've had some cool stuff in the house because of it too. She's bought stuff. She's bought a new table. Yeah, whatever the heck I'm trying to say. A little, what do you call those little tables in front of the couch?
A couch table, I think.
What do you call those?
I think it's a couch
It's
table.
not a
It's the
couch
thin,
table.
tall table,
It's
and it
like
goes behind
it's a table that sits in front of you.
an end table.
Is that
a
it?
coffee table.
Coffee table would probably
That's
be
the one
good
you're looking for. The
her.
big one that you got.
The bigger coffee table.
That spins.
She got it for $30,
and it rotates.
and it rotates. And
Right.
she spent hours cleaning that thing up and sanded it down and finished it. It looks awesome.
So that's another thing we do.
But
It's both of us, and as well as
handy.
our wives, we like to go to garage sales, estate sales, auctions, and find neat things. And I've been known to maybe sell a few things,
You can make some money.
on eBay or on Craigslist or what have you, and refinishing some furniture and either putting it in my own house or selling it. And
Right.
yeah, it's a little side gig. Sometimes it's fun. And it doesn't make you a living, but it's just it's the fun of the hunt.
I think some people do make a living doing it.
They
but
probably do.
They probably do, but that's all they do.
Right.
You can't do it just here and there like we do.
I'm too, what do you call it? Where I've spread too thin.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to buy all those things and clean them up and research them and get them out there. That's a full-time job.
Yeah. Sometimes they never leave the garage.
They sit there.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
But it's cool stuff, and it's a fun opportunity to sit around and do things you like. And I personally like it because I get to do it with my wife. And she likes the hunt as well. And she really gets into going through closets and looking for like vintage clothing or cleaning supplies. We can clean anything right now.
Right.
If you look at our like pantry closet, and if you ever need
partial bottles of everything.
Yeah, don't run out and get anything. I don't know if it's still good, but we don't pay a lot of money for that kind of stuff. Brooms and shovels and things like that.
Yeah.
Those types of things to me are therapeutic.
Yeah, it's a good way to spend your time. Just to relax, get your mind off of the world. Other ways of doing it, which we have both done. One is this, as far as I'm concerned, these conversations like this. But we've talked about this. You may have heard this on here as well. Small groups, church small groups, men's groups, where you can sit down. I mean, that's a place to decompress. That's a place to share what's going on with you.
You bet.
That's
With
also nice.
Those people who have some common ground especially based on our faith
Right.
and as everyone probably knows by now, we're both Christians who believe Jesus Christ is who he said he was and did what he said he was going to do, and
Right.
think really thankful that he did in my own world. And we can talk about that more down the road, but yeah, getting around people who truly aspire to love
Hmm.
deeper, to care more, to grow closer to Christ. And when you're in that environment, then that it's authentic,
Hmm.
and that to me is the most gratifying characteristic of a human being. If
Yeah.
they can just be authentic, don't lie to me,
Mm.
don't cheat me, don't
Right.
manipulate me, just come at me with the truth. And I might not like it, but
Yeah.
at least you're straight up with me, and I can have that conversation.
Yeah. It's always good to have somebody else's perspective on things that you believe are common ground. You can still have a different perspective of that. And maybe someone just challenging you so that you are actually learning more
Mm.
and getting that deeper perspective. I mean, you can have a 1,000-foot perspective of something. Yeah, I know who Jesus was. Yeah, I believe that. Sure, absolutely. But once you start diving deeper into the word, and when you have other men, which I think is very helpful for men to have other men to talk to, so you can really understand who you ought to be and what we should be doing. So when somebody says something to you and it makes you think about yourself, and if you can die to yourself a little bit because of that, it's just a good challenge every day. I think is something that's useful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think what you said, like dying to yourself, you said it right there at the end,
Yeah.
it's not getting, rid of everything that you have, that you
No.
like, that you enjoy.
No.
It's just it's considering others. When you
Yeah.
start to put other people, as a priority, you get, you know, long-term gratification from
Hmm.
that. Where all the things people try to fill their world with, like alcohol
Yeah.
or tobacco or whatever in excess, whatever drug they choose in excess, then they
Sex.
realize sex.
Sex is a
Good
big
one.
one.
Yeah,
Sex is a big one.
whatever it is. I mean, you could go even really twisted if you wanted
Yeah.
to. And
Let's don't.
the bottom no, let's not. Let's not do that. But the bottom line is, like, all of those things only provide you temporary gratification. And I think a lot of people unfortunately find that out the hard way. I think that's where we were going earlier when we were talking about
Yeah.
moderation. I mean, you can't erase the world that you're in presently. You have to deal with it, and it's not always glorious,
Mm,
and it's not always easy.
yeah.
But it's not going to go away, and the only way it goes away is if you confront it. And there's so many times where people get it or fall on hard times, and they try to run from it, and it's going to catch up with you eventually. Something's going to, you know, create a situation to where you're going to have to face face the music, so to speak, and deal with
Mm,
whatever you're dealing with. And it's better to go ahead and do that, and instead of avoiding. And I think, in my opinion, excess use of anything is essentially either not knowing and having way too much fun, or hiding from something
yeah.
that
The
you're trying to
responsibility.
get off your mind or
Yeah.
avoid.
Yeah. Whatever it is that takes you from what you're supposed to do, and it's whether it's go to work, whether it's take care of the kids, whether it's cleaning your house. I mean, there's some little things, big things. When you're run to go watch this TV, or you sit there on your phone and you just get lost in reels, and you're watching social media to the excess to where you're like, oh crap, I was supposed to fix dinner for the kids and I forgot to do that. Or I didn't do the laundry. I didn't go do this because I would rather not think about those things, and I just want to think about nothing.
Right.
People do that so often, they get lost because they don't want to face reality.
And social media is not a bad thing. if it's
Small.
utilized in moderation.
Right.
I think I had someone say this to me one time, and I think it's just tremendous, which is, you know, anything that keeps you from something that you should be doing. So your priorities, right? Good things turn into bad things if they keep you from the best thing.
Yes.
And so your deterrents in life aren't always necessarily sin. Sometimes it's just something that you do too much of, and it takes you from a higher
Yeah.
priority. So, anyways, maybe we should
But
take a break, Troy.
we could. We'll figure out something else to talk about another time. But this is us for today at Life and Grace Podcast. We thank y'all for being here.
All right, yeah, get something to do that's not going to cause troubles in your world. Hopefully, some idea that we shared is going to lead you the right direction. But
Yeah.
bottom line is, like, we're going to have a lot of these things, so hopefully we get some feedback eventually as we release these and get
Yeah.
we'll see with what we're doing appeals to people and
Yeah.
hopefully.
Well, thank you all for hanging out. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Troy. Good
Bye.
talking to you. Hey.
Later.